stream. I'll raise my finger when we're live, okay?
Okay.
All right, buddy. It happens. It happens.
Fast.
Still loading.
Okay.
No.
It reminds me of something in the past. It's like waiting, but then we were already live and we thought like, let's wait, just wait and see what happens. I'm not sure exactly where that happened, but it kind of
Yes.
rings a bell, you know?
Yes, I can edit it for YouTube. It's good for that as well. Okay. Nearly there. Not yet. Wheel is spinning.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Happens. It happens.
It's working.
Yes. There we go. Okay, we're good. Thank you for your patience. So this is Lou Martin, Awakened Spirits Network, and my Facebook page, and you're all very welcome. And I have the pleasure, the joy, and always the challenge of keeping up with your friend, Peter Hansen, who is a wonderful friend and a channel for Archangel Gabriel. Good morning, Peter. How are you today, my friend?
Good morning, buddy. I'm doing great, thank you. It's evening at your place, right? So
Yes.
in the quantum field is like we're in the now time now.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So we're just chatting here for a minute. Let's give you a good introduction here. Yeah, there's our friend Annie. She's jumped on immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Peter, you and I have known each other a couple of years. You're one of my favorite people, period. And it's always a joy to have, thank you, to be on with you here, because you and your angelic guidance are just always leading edge, cutting edge, a few steps ahead of everyone. And when we're chatting, you're already, pulling things, going in the direction of the future. So I just want to give you a space here to say hi, introduce yourself, and take us anywhere you'd like to go.
Well, thank you. I mean, most of you probably watched us on here before, and we've been drawn here for this recording or this live for that reason. If you're new, welcome. But we have a history, yes, of following each other's journey and sharing from up on high and bringing stuff in, doing live channeling, and really becoming, of course, a bridge and a portal, allowing whatever is happening at the moment to come through. And that, mirrors, our lives, how we go through the emotions, how our lives and our bodies are reflecting what is coming through in real time. And it's very energizing, very exciting, very magical to be in that place, but it's also very vulnerable in essence to, you're releasing the old, you are tapping into the new, you cease to resist, not forcing anything, allowing the divine blueprint to come online and being the conduit of that, you know what I mean? Because in essence, we all visitors here, but we're also the creators of it, right? So we left a higher aspect of ourselves to be here in this playground, so to speak, having this soul experience, going from third density to fourth density, and dimensional shift from the third dimension up to the fifth and above, in a physical body, experiencing what that is like. And we've done it before, but it's like this time around, it's like it's the grand finale, like it really, really it sums everything up, it's like the end of a cycle, like it's all the preparations are coming in, and it's really exciting to be on the cutting edge, so to speak, and be the forerunners, we all forerunners in our own ways, you know what I mean? But really like remembering, experiencing things that didn't make sense before. Because as we shift in frequency and we hold more light and activate our light bodies, so more and more we start become conscious channels. It's like the information coming in is activating us as we speak.
Right.
It's and synchronizing us with the realities that is in alignment with what we need to experience next or what we need to bring forth. And really exciting times. So that was a little bit of a intro, but
it's very good. It's an impossible task, and you did brilliantly as usual. Yeah, thank you. So, Peter, let's just to give people, you have such an amazing awakening story. I know you've told it 100,000 times, but if you could just tell people how you got to be where you're at and how you really opened your connection to the angels and Archangel Gabriel.
Throughout my life, this lifetime, which I actually look as several lifetimes within one lifetime, because there's been phases of my life where I was living in a different country and I was going through a different phase where I was more 3D and then going into more 4D and then more into more 5D. So I look at it as multiple lifetimes within one lifetime. So from early on, I was coming in, tapped on, like most of us do. And then as a young child, like 2, 3 years old, like that, those windows were just being closed again. That consciousness was, and that connectiveness was somewhat close, because of the programming and the matrix and the belief systems and the collective and the families and societal, society. So then I had I feel like from that point on, I was connected, but I didn't feel like I had a support group at that time because it felt like I was traveling on my own. It was there, but I didn't know how to connect with it because I didn't have anyone in my life, and that was by choice, to guide me or show me physically.
Right.
I didn't, you know what I mean? So I had a lot of experiences. I saw things, I felt things, on the other side, ghosts, angels, animal spirits, connecting with that. Which I haven't really shared much about the ghost part because I remember, my mom and dad moved in and bought and flipped a lot of houses when I was younger. And I remember some of these houses in Europe, they are hundreds of years old, some of them, they're old. So there's a lot of history, and as you know, you're in Ireland, like there's, you can feel between the walls what's going on, you know what I mean? Especially when you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Which I did at that time, spend a lot of time by myself. I was a young kid, my mom and dad were busy. My brother was in a different part of the world at that point, or the country. So I was navigating that on my own, so to speak, to the best of my ability. And I did somewhat create a fear of the darkness at that point because it was so overwhelming at that point. I got past that later on. And then come into around my 18, 20 years old, I was 20 actually, but I had a car accident and I, went to the other side. I went into a coma, and I had that experience. I went up through that elevator in the near-death experience elevator, many are experiencing. Going up the elevator, 2 angels took me up and I was on one of those rolling carriers or whatever, and I got up to the top floor and there was just immense light coming in, but I didn't go out. It wasn't pushed out. It was just like I got the information I needed, the activation I needed, and the doors closed again. I came down again and came back into my body, came back to life with new instructions and new activations within me. Within a couple of years after that, within 5 years, I think, then I moved to the United States just to accelerate things, the story a little bit there, because I had new instructions and I felt like there's that inner drive towards the unknown, but also it was a different landmass that was calling. It was like that my mission was now in a new place. So all the cards kind of aligned, all the bricks fell into place, and I moved to the United States. So we moved to Los Angeles, the city of angels of all places, and kind of started brand new there because it was like, again, that was a new lifetime. So then I went through another aspect of my spiritual awakening there, but I had to kind of know the game here. I needed to know the culture. I needed to know what was available, and also reconnecting with old aspects of myself from past lifetimes, and of course higher guidance coming in. So there was a grid system here that I was familiar with, but I had to reactivate it.
Okay.
And I kind of had to, because everything was erased as we came into this by agreement into this human body. So I had to reactivate the parts that I needed, reconnect with those aspects of myself and embody those aspects of myself. So there's a lot of studying for many years. And of course, start to practice meditation and Kundalini yoga again, and just nature and a lot of traveling, because there was a part of my activation as well to activate grid point but also be a grid keeper, and bring all those aspects alive or online again, for me to function as a whole again, if that makes sense. So and that led to further on, then I became a spiritual counselor, psychic
Right.
channeler, and been doing that for a living for probably 8 years or something now. Before that, I did it for a couple of years. I did it just for fun and
Mhm.
games and for free. But then eventually I was like, I can actually do what I love to do. And then nothing else made sense anymore at that point, because it was like I was just working for somebody else. I was just assisting somebody else in their journey, right? And their dreams. So
Right.
this was coming back into my heart space, and that connected me deeper, and that it still does to this day, obviously, is that when we work with people, we connecting, with source, we allow ourselves to be fully embodied. We allow the higher self of us and the oversoul consciousness to be fully activated, and being in that light, being beyond the limits of the physical, right? And that just accelerates things and allows us to ascend, and it brings everything into a higher frequency bandwidth and a higher light quotient, and density. So then the cells in our body start vibrating differently, and our consciousness operate differently, and our frequency, how we manifest, how we, in essence, become the world. We're not of the world. We like, because we become conscious creators again, and then connecting in the unified field of consciousness with other aspects of ourselves, like yourself. And that's something that's really strong, and I know we're going to talk more about that, but that's coming online now. Any separation, because we're coming into the fourth density, and are in the fourth density, is actually fear is not a part of the fourth density. So that's clearing. So then the old programs that was running the show before cease to exist, and they won't be able to continue to run that way. So anything that's unreal or is not true or false or clones, whatever you want to call it, like that's not based on a soul or a consciousness, that's operating from a program or from robot, whatever you want to call it, a matrix, an old matrix, that will cease to exist, because it won't be able to ascend with it. It can't go from the third to the fourth. It cannot enter that, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Well, that was that's a good introduction, my friend. Oh my, yeah. That's really brilliant. I'm looking at your page here, Peter. Thank you for that. You say on your story here, over the past decade, I've fully embraced my light and true purpose in this lifetime, which anyone who spends any time with you feels immediately. And it's so loving and so powerful. And just, your conscious loving presence is always such a healing gift. So I want to thank you again for all your hard work and commitment in this and other lifetimes to be here for and with all of us in such a conscious, loving way. And you also say, I have conducted thousands of sessions, participated in countless podcasts, interviews, taught many workshops with the New Earth One Network around the country, and embarked on extensive travels to work with people worldwide in the metaphysical world. So now we have your bona fides, as we say. We know who we're talking to, and it's truly a thrill. So, my friend, you were already sharing a little bit about your sense about the energies of this month. And do you want to share any more about that, or what you're sensing in terms of, as you said, this acceleration of consciousness, and letting go of fear, and letting go of illusions, and clinging to to the pain of the past and all of that, versus opening up into the sacred moment, the eternal moment of now, and being available for the love and light of all that is, and any of that you'd like to talk about.
Sure. I mean, what's coming online here is that we've been preparing for this, the conscious of evolution, and the new earth, movements, has been going on for a while. We witnessed it, we've seen it. So we actually, we noticed that abundance of conscious practitioners and participants, in the field. I think this year more than ever, I just really noticed how it just expanded so much. So many more people are now online, and feeling called to do what we're doing, and because that's a part of their soul evolution, to fully embody it, to share it, to channel, to be at service. And that on a collective basis, we are experiencing that now coming into June. And the summer solstice is going to be big, which is my birthday.
Happy
Interesting, right? So on June 21st, which I'm born in Denmark, that is in Gemini, that is the solar, the solstice there. I mean, I guess the 20th is this year here, but
Yeah.
on a global basis, global scale, that really doesn't matter because in the quantum field.
Yeah.
So personally, I feel like there's a big shift happening here, and I see it throughout. That's why I'm mentioning everybody else too, is that it's what we normally, the way it usually happens is that we all pick up a lot of the same frequencies, right? The same messages, the same, because we start to remember again. So we remember the plan we signed up for to be here, one thing, but also like we're co-creating it, and then also decided that there would be this grand event, or we call it a flash, we can call it whatever we want to call it, where there's a big shift in density or consciousness. There's many ways again to describe that, but it's really, we are entering, we already in it. So these portals leading into it is like we are not resisting it the way we used to. So there's that surrender part of it. And again, the fear is ceasing to exist. So it becomes easier and easier to not be reactive to it. And that is something that has to be experienced on a personal level. Yes, we can share that, but if we don't feel it personally, then we wouldn't be fully getting it, if that makes sense.
It does. Yes.
And that is something everybody is either already feeling or will be feeling, in the
Yes.
process of feeling. So there's nobody's ahead of anyone else. Everything is in divine timing, but there's a mass, general mass or critical mass or whatever we call it, it's here, and it is enough to make that push through. And that's why we also see, this fire energy going on right now, the volcanic eruptions around the world. There's just so much happening because it's a pressure cooker that's just about to burst, so to speak, in a
Yes.
good way, not in a destructive way. But it
Very.
is, in essence, it's destructing the old systems because they gotta go,
Sure.
because
Sure.
they were based off duality and separation.
Yes.
So even what we see in the media, if we follow any of the media, is that is so geared, and even watching TV and so forth, like it's so geared still towards keeping people in limbo or in separation, or take sides, or triggering that fear. It does not have the same power as it used to. So it does not have the same effect, but it's still there, kind of like echoing. So the challenge here is, and the opportunity is, to come into love about it,
Right.
into forgiveness, into seeing the bigger picture, that whatever is the right side, whatever is the wrong side, is part of the whole. And it's like, it's the light and the dark. And it's like, we have to embrace all of it, to unify it, they are playing a crucial part in the transition as well. So whatever's going on in the political, all of that, it is by divine design. It is creating disclosure. It is bringing, like we are physically experiencing in our own bodies, all programs to the surface.
Yes. Yes.
And it's needed. It's the only way to transform it.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Right. Absolutely, Peter. It has to be released. It has to be revealed in order to be released.
The same with the lava, and the volcanic, the pressure just gotta burst out, like, so we can create balance again.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's right. That's beautiful. Yeah. And well, happy birthday in advance.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it's funny because I have been, I'll say this to you as well, my friend. I've been getting the sense that I would like to help to co-create something around the solstice. with yourself, if you're open to that, and other people as well. I mentioned it to a few others that I've interviewed. But you're, the bell is really starting to ring now that you're mentioning this, again. And as you're saying, it's the world is our mirror. It's our reflection, and what we feed, what we give our energy to, what we're interested in, what we're upset about, what we're angry over, what we're judging, etc. Whatever we're putting out is what we're getting back, is the short version. And
Yeah.
so as we really can accept that, trust that, surrender to that, embrace that, then everyone, myself included, is experiencing a beautiful sense of acceleration and opportunities and synchronicities flowing very beautifully. And you can only imagine if this is if the wheel's going like this, when it starts really getting towards the top of the ride there, the roller coaster, whatever, the Ferris wheel, yeah, it's things are going to be flying off. And as you said, it needs to be, this is the big challenge for myself and for a lot of people, to make peace with the death of the old, so that there can be a space for grace, as my guides call it, the space in between, the void, limbo, whatever, so that there can be that the new thing can be possible, in order for that the old to have been surrendered. Does it make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But what I'm feeling too, coming back to the fourth density we're coming into, we are in, is that we are not so focused on all the wrongs. We're not focused on everything that can go wrong, all the opposition, all the separation any longer. And that's why we're able to, so then we're not caught in that karmic loop.
Yes. Yes.
Then instead we are focusing on all the positive things, all the expansion, all the things we are grateful for, all the things that actually is going right.
Yes.
Because, and again, like you mentioned, the roller coaster, which is a great analogy, is that when everybody on the roller coaster focus on that, then it's going to be the ride of a lifetime. It's going to be magical. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Versus if everybody's in a shitty mood, it's like, this was horrible, then that would be the accepted, or the general acceptance, you know what I mean? Or tune, that will be played out.
Yes, no, you're saying it well, my friend. And it's also, honestly, I will have to tell you, my light body has just come on a few minutes ago, just sitting here with you. I it's like lit up, which is I want you to know, Peter, this is definitely a new thing. I started really feeling this a few months ago, and it was like, wow, I am really feeling this, and it's gotten easier. I will definitely, I still forget, of course, but it's gotten easier to come back to feeling centered. And if I'm finding myself in fear or in a struggle, to just put on a meditation and just, dive under the waves for a little while, and then come back and go, oh yeah, I get it now. So all of that is just such a huge blessing. There's so much we can talk about. Because you have consciously been connected with the angels and with spirit, and I think from your early 20s and your recovery from your accident and all that, which I can only imagine what that was like, brother. You know where we're going, and that we're going to get there. And again, that's not everyone's perception and experience. So anything you would like to say about the new earth and what things on the other side of this transition might be like for us?
Absolutely. It's the unity consciousness that's coming back online. So we start to remember it individually again. So we embody it, and that's when that higher frequency access and the higher self access becomes available and becomes normal. It becomes all the time, because in the quantum field. So that's what you're experiencing too. You're feeling alive, because when you feel that energy, you mentioned, the light body is activated, and you connect with other light bodies, which is also an aspect of you, again, it's mirroring, it takes you out of this box, so to speak, that we lived in before. and it connects you with all the other aspects. So there's no limitations. There is like as infinite possibilities, infinite versions of you that you can tap into and bring forth. You know what I mean? And it's not being navigated through the old 3D mind that have self-sabotaging behavior and can only handle so much of anything without self-destructing or self-sabotaging, so to speak, because of the programming, right? Living in the fear and the fight and flight mode. So now, not being a victim of that any longer, you know, that really allows for that, you know, rebirth, so to speak, or resurrection, sorry, of the soul, of the higher self, of the true self, coming online, coming back into this vessel, your vessel, my vessel, all our vessels, you know, without any resistance. It's in full surrender, not fighting time like we used to, because it used to be such a chase, it used to be such a struggle to get to somewhere, to manifest, to do it right. Definition of success or love, all of that stuff, like it was very limited and it was not meant to grow bigger than that container, right? So now tapping into the unconditional field, you know, of love and abundance, you know, and experiencing what that is like as a conscious creator without those programming dictating where we're going, what we're doing, what we can do. We are tapping into something that's much bigger than us. And when I say us, I mean the individual viewpoint, you know what I mean? So we gain this unified field of consciousness experience, so to speak, where we see the entire world through the world, right, through everybody in it, as we connect as one. And that's also where we talked about a little bit earlier, like that forgiveness and that acceptance and that, you know, love for everybody, you know, it comes into play. It's like the amnesty, if you want to call it. I talked about that like a year ago, I think, or longer ago as well. We knew this phase was going to come. We knew where everything was going to hit the fan, so to speak, and it's happening right now. So the sooner we can just shift it and transform it, and not finding any wrongs with it, not fighting it, not giving it any, you know, give the fire any power or feed the fire, you know, of separation, of destruction, you know, just allow it to burn, allow it to burn out, allowing it to go through the motions, you know what I mean? And we set that fire, you know, we planned this fire, everything is happening in divine timing. So does that make sense? It's like the more we can take ownership of the whole thing, that's when we really start to experience everything in real time.
Yes.
Because nobody else is doing this to us. It's like it is by divine design, and the higher aspect of ourself has been monitoring us and guiding us along the way to reach this point where we can start to step in and take over the wheel, so to speak, you know?
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah, go on. Yeah, is there more?
I could go on and on and on, but
Slowly.
so
Yeah.
again, I kind of want to highlight too, you know, right now there's no race, you know what I mean? So not rushing anything, not feeling that, you know what I mean? Not fighting anything,
Yeah. Yeah.
not
Nothing.
trying to force anything.
Right. Right.
Because there's certain things that's going to be leaving right now, and it's leaving for a reason.
Right. Right.
And that doesn't mean that it's entirely gone. It might just be a better version of that might, or that person, or that relationship, or that reality coming forth, you know, that just can't come forth if the old one is still there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the transitioning we go through now, and that's what we're experiencing on a collective basis, that we're not fighting it as we used to. We were trying to control everything before.
Sure. Yes. Trust.
Trust.
Yes, my friend. Yes. Wonderful. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, brother, it's just, wow. It's just a stone cold thrill, as I like to say, Peter. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and really, like for me, music, just that is a lyric from something, but music and the feelings that come up for me when I'm listening to music or singing or playing, you know, that's been the transcendent energy, you know, that's easiest for me to access throughout this lifetime over and over again. And you know, it's I was playing some music earlier today, you know, and sharing some music, etc. And you know, it's just boom, it just centers you immediately, you know. And it's you're when you're speaking of all this, I'm thinking, yes, what are the tools? What are the things that are available to me and to all of us that we can, tap into? And I mean, we have, of course, we have all the love and support from spirit, as you said, that we will allow ourselves to ask for and feel deserving of receiving. And, like your own beautiful story, my brother, and my chapter there a few years ago, sometimes we have to nearly lose everything in
Mhm.
order to really get the attention of the human self, to be willing to be humble before the truth that's eternal, and start to live in the world but not of it, as you were referring earlier. Jesus and his story has been so important for so many people. Is there any thing you want to share about how that story fits into this time?
Yes, well, there's the divine masculine, divine feminine, there's the Mary Magdalene, there's the Jeshua, merge or marriage or, you know, mission, so to speak, how that was also planted or activated, in our time or in our perspective thousands of years ago, right? But in essence, it's much alive today as it was then, because it's in the quantum field, it's happening right now. It's just how it's being described throughout the ages, and it was being manipulated, throughout time as well. But it really is the divine masculine, divine feminine coming into union, the sacred union, and it's part of the whole. Is one, right? So it's like at one point it's split out to millions, to trillions, to billions. You know what I mean? Like, and the source code, so to speak, is being carried in what we call the Holy Grail. That is the divine masculine, divine feminine. Traveling up the spine, the chakras, the pranic tube, and coming into union, and the union is the Holy Grail. That's where we become complete again, where we're not
Mhm.
separate any longer, where we embody all of it. And we can say it's breadcrumbs, like throughout the ages, that led us to where we are at now, coming, because it was very simple, actually, the message from the get-go. It's
Yeah.
just been made complicated along the way.
Yes.
We're now coming back to that simplicity, that's simplicity, like that connectiveness, that pureness, so to speak, which is resembled in the Christ consciousness.
Hmm.
But being a traveler on the journey, and as many of us have experienced, like the sacred unions, the tantric, all of that, experiencing what that is like to merge with the divine masculine, divine feminine is quite magical. Doing that with a partner, but really in the bigger scheme of things, it's internally is the player one experience. You know what I mean? Like we activate something within us, then we bring the best of both worlds into oneness, right? And then bring that forth, and then we share from up high, because now we can tap into both sides. We're not just on one, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes.
Like when you activate your divine masculine and your divine feminine, regardless if you're in a male or female body,
Yes.
then you allow, all the information to come through, because you can see it from both perspectives, and you embody it as source, as above that even, you know what I mean, so to speak. Not that there's anything above it necessarily, but it's like you're seeing it, you're not, what do you call it? You're not just limited to one side, right? So it really comes into that unified field of consciousness. So the Jeshua and the Mary Magdalene was the forerunners, for humanity, for the females and males, and it was somewhat of a love story, and there's been many versions of that as well throughout the ages, right? For
Yeah.
different reasons, for different purposes, and that's also part of the disclosure that's coming up now too. So then there's an aspect of self-empowerment, but also embodiment of these aspects within ourselves, because you were Jesus, you were Mary Magdalene, so was I. We all were, because if we're the creator of this reality and this is our world, then we created all of it.
Right.
And that is what we're now coming into. And there was so much resistance towards that. It was just too big before, but now the script is reaching its end, so to speak, climax, or is an end or whatever. We're getting ready for the next phase or the next evolution, the next new Earth. The next script to unfold.
Sure. Beautiful.
I hope that was helpful.
Oh, that's very helpful. Absolutely, Peter. Thank you. Thank you. What's also coming from, no, that was really, really brilliant. I mean, as I said, I've been studying the Course in Miracles for the last 11 months. And, basically the message there is, as you've touched on many times, that the world is a dream, and it can be a dream of love instead of a dream of fear. And the more that we forgive and accept and, take the atonement, as they say, make peace with ourselves and each other in the world, the more it begins to reveal itself, and it begins to open up. And, that divine feminine, divine masculine, the sacred marriage is possible for everyone. It really is this, radical process of self-acceptance, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, because it's there for all of us.
Living in aloneness and separation, in a world of opposition, and struggle, then it was just not accessible at the time.
Sure. Yes.
But because of that collapsing now, then everyone who has a soul who is here now, they are going through that transition and the remembrance, because of the density shift, so then that is coming back online, and then we are computing, we are, what I mean, differently.
Yes.
Processing differently, our priorities are shifting, and
Yeah.
value system is shifting. How we are of the world or in the world, like is different. Our priorities shift and change, what's important, and coming back to love, like you mentioned, like that's really what ties it all together. And I noticed myself, I mean, I've been a patient guy for a long time and I still am, but I do feel like there's even things that, because continuously we are being challenged, right? Through our ascension journey is like just showing us where we still have limitation or where there's still resistance and so forth, and I really feel like last month or two, then another level of that, I just experienced is that things that might irritate me, but I was like biting my tongue and just processing it before, it's not even registering hardly.
Yeah, brilliant. I feel the same. I feel things are just speeding up exponentially, and it's just pay attention. Listen to, trust, and follow. That inner guidance. And if I get stuck, ask for help. And trust the help is always given.
I kind of want to blow your horn a little bit. I know that sounds wrong, but I remember, because we've known each other for several years now, and you went through your sickness, and your death and rebirth, so to speak, you know what I mean? Your body had to go through this
Yeah.
challenge, you know what I mean? It was a universal 4x4. And how your body is now, it's online so much more. I mean, you're able to just shift. You're able to just quantum leap. And then I can see that in the transmissions you're setting out to, the work you're doing with other people as well, like how online you are. You know what I mean? Like you embodying as much more, where before you could say maybe like you're a little more of a host, but now you're much more into your wholeness. You know what I mean? Like you're the expert as well.
Thank you very much,
Which
Peter.
is which is important to highlight, and I actually picked that up last week. I was thinking about it too, and I think that's a pattern we have. Stuff comes up, right? You should be interviewed more too, because you really, does that make sense? Because you need to hear yourself also share your knowledge, and you are sharing it this format, you know what I mean? But you are a ascended master, you have so much knowledge, so much to step into as well and fully embody. And that's a part of the ascension. It's a part of the embodiment, right? And I'm not saying you're doing it wrong. It's just another thing that you can play with, if you want to. If there's somebody listening to this, they have a show, they want to bring you on as a guest. Here's the hint. Here's the message.
Believe me, that's so special and so sweet of you and so dear to my heart. Thank you so much. It really means the world to me. Yeah, I mean, it's I have a friend who's in the hospital right now, who's a lovely teacher. This is tangential to what you're saying. his name is DVL, and I thought, just to say it now so I don't forget, I would ask yourself and our guides to send him a blessing. And so what I saw with him, what I read from your story and know from being with you these wonderful times and my own journey a couple of years ago and over the last few years, is that it's not happening to us, it's happening for us. And if I can build a bridge and get over myself, as my favorite quote from my guides, then yes, the world is very interested to hear what I have to say. But if I think, my ego, like, oh, I know what I'm doing, that's where the problems come in. It's like, no, get thee behind me, Satan. That doesn't work. So like you're saying, things are speeding up. That was all beautiful. Things are speeding up so much. But yeah, my brother and teacher DVL will send him a little love when we get a moment here today as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you tapped into something there too that we all go through as well, is that, when we start our spiritual journey, which is really our embodiment of ourselves, you know what I mean? We start becoming owning it, you know what I mean? Then at first we felt out of it before. So there was a lot of, I didn't like speaking in public as well. When I was younger, I was
Right.
afraid of it, scared of it,
Yes, of course, naturally.
So getting past that, and then like when you start speaking your truth, then it's so easy. Because there's nothing to be afraid of, because you're not trying to convince anyone. You're not trying to, you know what I mean, like memorize everything, because it's just coming through because you're speaking what you actually believe. Then it's just a life-changing experience, and then it becomes easier and easier, because it's like you can't be caught off guard because you're always speaking your truth,
Yes. Liars need good memories, and people that tell the truth can live in the moment, and that's absolutely true. Our friend Annie, thank you, Peter. Our friend Annie is asking, do you have a time frame on when we move into the 5D? Are the earth changes and light helping us to move forward?
It's happening in phases, right? But there's been many phases, many portals, many gates we've been going through leading up to this, for the last 12 years or even further back than that. But it accelerating like within this last 6 months, but also like the year prior, these gates are becoming bigger and bigger. The codes coming in are being stronger and stronger. So the activations are stronger and stronger. So back to the question, when and how, it's like, it's again, June, this June it's such a big one that nobody's gonna miss it, if that's the right way of saying it.
Right.
Because it's gonna be so life-changing. And again, it's the consciousness within the vessel. So it's the frequencies, the vibration, the consciousness in the individual person that's going to change. And then the world's going to be viewed differently.
Sure.
So that's a part of the answer to the question, is that, for Anne, like, you will feel that things are operating differently. You won't be a passenger in your own body any longer. You'll be in charge to a higher degree than before.
Yes.
And you will feel how it's like also, I was noticing this earlier today. I was kind of thinking about this. Is like, this is interesting because I always had a good eye-hand coordination my whole life.
Yeah.
But then I was like struggling. I had a burrito. I had a little jar of salsa. I had a board. I had to bring, I had a bag of stuff. But it was interesting because this different densities, like the jar of salsa was like, oh, you don't want to squeeze that too much. It's gonna, you know what I mean? The burrito was hot. The board was big. The bag was heavy. And then my keys to get, but I felt like I could feel all of them at the same time. Does that make sense? Where one time you might focus so much on like what this hand and these fingers are doing right now, but it was like I could feel all of that like even stronger. So that's a part of part of the answer here I'm trying to bring forth too, is like our connectiveness with everything in the universe is gonna shift and be experienced differently. So, and everybody listening, all of us, we will be seeing the world differently. We will see each other differently. We will be in a different frequency bandwidth and consciousness, where things will just become easier. And when I say easier, it's like less distortion. So it's
Yeah.
pure. And that simplifies things. So we came closer to the original blueprint of love, where we start to see the world as magical. We're starting to see everything as an opportunity for growth, and also like really enjoying the present moment, because that's all that ever is, right? Not wasting that opportunity to be present, instead of leaving it through the mind and go to all these worry states, and the future, the past, and this and that, all these stories, that is to a full degree is being lifted. So it won't have the same hold on us any longer.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
but it's kind of like helpful maybe to put in here too. It is like a big play. It is like a big movie, right? It's like, so there is people in the background. There's none. What do they call those players?
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. Well, extras. Yeah.
There's extras,
Yeah.
yes, but also it's like kind of like clones or robots who doesn't have a soul. So there's more like background, right? So like they're not essential players,
Yeah. Yeah.
and but they played a purpose. They were fillers, right? They played a part in the old and in the transition to the new, but that will be filled out because they won't be able. They don't have that consciousness to shift into the new, right? They don't have that soul, and they're not supposed to.
Right. Right.
So we will be experiencing that transition. So like there's all these stories we hear about in the media about these bad people, that done bad things and stuff like, but a lot of them were like, no, they didn't have a soul. They were just like simply part of the transition, a part of the collapse,
Okay.
playing a part
Right.
for, what I mean, as we
Sure.
experienced it and felt it emotionally and physically as we go through the motion, and we processed it, and we find forgiveness, we find love, we find purpose in all of it, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Then that's a part of that shift as well. It's like there's nothing to fear, there's nobody to be afraid of, so to speak.
Yeah. 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 Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, man. Yeah. No, that was a feast, and no one has mentioned the problem they had with their burrito and their surfboard in my movie in quite a while. So that was a moment right there for a kid from LA like myself. That's brilliant. Yeah,
And
and
it was not a problem. It was more like I felt, like in the past I was be more worried about making, juggling all these things, but it felt like no, it was like I can feel the heat of this one, the cold of that one, the softness of this one, like all the sensations at once because you're
yes,
fully activated, right?
yes, multisensory.
Right.
You know,
Perception, yeah.
yeah, is a phrase that comes to mind. Well, you're touching on something really, really powerful also, which is, the mechanized world, the technological world, robots, AI, digital this and digital that, and how all of that is not the organic, the mystical, the eternal, the love, the life, the joy, the freedom, and how these are basically doing this over the next few years. That one is rising and the other is going to fall in terms of its importance. Judith Kusel, you may know Judith from South Africa. She's a wonderful teacher as well. She's saying basically everyone's going to just be tossing their phone on the trash heap because it won't need it any longer, because we'll all be
True.
telepathic. I'll be texting Peter, hey Peter, how's the surf today? What's it like over there? So yeah, it's to say that it's exciting is isn't it?
It is, and that's I love that we just brought that up, the telepathic, like it is like coming online. There's no limitations, you know what I mean? It's like it's just a thought away, right? It's like it's the quantum field, like it's just so magical, and we can't really comprehend what, but we've been introduced to versions of that, but now we're going to experience like the grandmother of that, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like experiencing Wi-Fi and cell phones and internet and the globalization, how we can connect and talk across the world, um, and then coming fully online as a ship ourselves. We all like ships, like that's the thing. I mean, that's been mentioned before too, is like when we see our soul, we don't see a body, we don't see a male or female, we see a light.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Fantastic, amazing. For as we come down the home stretch here, my friend, any is there anything that you want to bring to our attention in terms of deepening our spiritual practice, or anything that you are working with right now that you want to especially bring our attention to?
Um, there's been this, I guess, again, the race to perfect, right? To do the right thing and to better ourselves.
Hmm.
So really, you're asking if there's any tools. I mean, we've been using these tools to get to where we're at right now. So the message that's coming through is that try to kind of relax, stop chasing, stop
Hmm.
measuring things as you can make it better, because actually it is already here. So it's more of a allow yourself to rest, allow yourself to feel what actually is already here. So you the tools we've been using to assist us along the way to get to where we're at right now is now integrated. They're here and they were placed there by us. It was like breadcrumbs that our higher self and our team was placing for us to guide us back to where we're at right now. So the key is to become fully present. You know what I mean? And this month of June, especially, we have some big days. Like today is 369, right? And it goes the portal, goes to the ninth. Big influx of energy and consciousness and activations and remembrance. You know what I mean? That's what we want to focus on. So it's not so much on the outside tools. So I'm not telling you, well, I am telling you,
It's
don't
good.
focus so much on the tools. You know what I mean? You already have everything you need. So it's more of like embodiment, and then take inventory of what you already have, but not from a list or a logical linear perspective. It's more of a vibrational listen to what's going on in your body. If you feel tired, then that's your tool to, follow that guidance, take a nap. Need to get into nature, you crave something specific to eat or drink, or whatever it is, the more you can listen to that communication, it will assist you the most.
Yes.
Where before we would filter that through the mind, like let's say we were eating ice cream because that was helping us, clear whatever, trauma from the past that needed that vibration. But as we did that in the past, there was a belief that, oh, you don't want to eat too much of it, then it's going to make you fat, or it's going to upset your tummy, or, you know what I mean? Like, we are past that now, so we can be much more hands-on, meaning if you gravitate towards something, go for it. Give yourself permission.
Okay. Yeah.
Before there was all these permission slips, and we had to pick and choose what is right, what's fit into my new self or my wanted self. Is like, no, now you're all of it, right? So we don't need those permission slips any longer. So we want to let that go, live life to the fullest, because that's how we embody and embrace the magical expansiveness, the love, the miracle, and really start to enjoy the ride so much more, because we're not in resistance towards it. Because before we were resisting everything basically, because it's like we weren't fully there, you see?
Yes. Yes. Beautiful.
So take it easy, enjoy yourself. And I know this sounds a little harsh, but like, and it's not true, but like from a old familiar perspective, look at it like, let's say we all died tomorrow, you know what I mean? And we would not waste anything, we would not lose anything, there would be no wrongdoing. We could just relax then. We want to start to relax like that now, because that's living in the quantum field. Is that we're never going to die. We are eternal souls, So bring that forth, start to embody that and give yourself that peace of mind, because then we also open up to the abundance of everything we need. Where before we had to figure out how to, earn it, or, be worthy of it, or all of that stuff, like now being in the field of infinite abundance and consciousness, and the quantum field, everything is here, everything you need. Like really, in this moment, you have everything you need, like right now and right now and right now. You know what I mean? So start living that way.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, that was lovely. Reverend Michael Beckwith used to have us, do a visualization exercise. Imagine what it feels like to know you have everything you need and want, you know.
Yes.
And yeah, that's a high place on the mountain, my friend. Yeah, that's a beautiful place of self-love and self-acceptance, as we're saying, and trust. And yeah, it's the love, the joy, the freedom, the abundance, all of that is just so magnetic and irresistible that it is becoming, ever easier not to get lost in the darkness and the fear for very long if we get distracted or confused about any of it, and to keep reminding each other, and as you've done here so beautifully again today, that we are loved and God knows our purpose and how to help us express it in every moment if we will listen. That's it, isn't it?
Yes, and forgive yourself. You know what I mean? Whatever happened in the past was not now.
Right, right,
Allow yourself to shine fully
right,
in the now.
right, right.
And of course, we are making better choices already. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? And that's
Yes,
the thing that most people don't really, or some people don't realize, is that there's been a filtering process. It's like there's certain souls who is just in so much resistance, they already left.
right, right.
So if you're here right now, you actually made it through the eye of the needle.
Okay, that's good news. That's always good news. That's beautiful. Yeah, brother. Well, yeah, thank you. My cup is full, and it looks like everyone's dropped in here to say hi, and I don't see any other questions here. Last call, if anyone has a question for Peter or his guides. Where do people find you who want to rush to work with you after this, this great session here?
Well, thank you. Go to my website, channelingarchangel.com, or you can reach out through Facebook or Instagram as well. Personal message me, and I'll guide you to my website most likely, because I like people to read about me there first, and you can see some testimonials and learn more about what I do. And of course, it's individually, I don't, exclusively created for each individual. You know what I mean? Customized.
Mhm.
And I meet people exactly where they're at, and it's such a gift for me to guide people through wherever they're at, you know what I mean, and co-create. It's like it's another aspect of me I'm reconnecting with at the same time, allowing these frequencies to be shared freely, and it's really magical. So yeah, go to my website, and if you feel a calling, again, the abundance, you know what I mean, is that, and the priorities, what's important in your life, what is the most important, you know what I mean, your state of mind, your spiritual
Yeah, best in
relationship
yourself.
with yourself, you will learn more and more. And mostly, I mean, everybody who's here already, they know that, is that there's that inner drive, you know what I mean? There's that connectedness, there's that heartness connector, you know what I mean? Because it's an aspect of ourselves that were dormant, that now is being activated, that we want to get closer to, we want to experience, we want to embody. The sooner we participate, the easier and the faster that will happen, or we will experience it that way. It's going to happen regardless, but we can partake consciously, and willingly.
Yes, we don't have to go kicking and screaming. Yeah,
No, we don't. And there won't be so much of that anymore. I mean, I just want to kind of remind
it's
everybody of that. It's
beautiful.
not the way it used to be, you know what I mean? Where we needed those 4x4s.
Well, I, for one, am very happy to hear that, my friend. Believe me, that is a joy. Peter, can we send a little love and light from the angels to my dear friend DVL, my teacher, who's in hospital?
Yes, absolutely. Let's just bring in the Legion of Angels, the Archangels, the Guardian Angels, the Ascended Masters of Light, Galactic Family of Light, and have them wrap a spear of light around him, and sending healing lights and medback technology, the frequency, the upgrade his DNA, bring everything into alignment, so come into a frequency bandwidth where it will come into balance and will start to heal itself, but it really what is coming into the true element that it was created in. So bringing everybody back to the 0 point, so to speak, but assisting him with wrapping him in emotional, loving embrace, heart-filled, and bring in some diamond light codes, allow him to pulsate through wherever he's at right now, whatever's going on, where he's at right now. Not just him, but also the surroundings, the rooms, the building, the city, state, country, this planet, from all timelines, all parallel realities, allowing that to shift, allowing it to be fully engulfed and imbued in this divine light. Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful. Perfect. Love you.
Love you. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right, we'll have to do this much sooner, and maybe even something around your beautiful birthday and the solstice. I'll put that out to you, and when I get some details about
Yeah,
it.
do please let me know.
Thank you. And so grateful. Thank you for that prayer for DVL. He's been a beautiful inspiration and a wonderful teacher on the path, like your good self. So, Peter, till we meet again, God bless you, my brother. Yeah, be well.
Likewise to you. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and look forward to next time.
Me too. Okay, we'll see you soon, everyone. Thanks a million. Peace and blessings.
Everybody.